Fantasy football championship week. Winners never quit, and quitters never win. Big Vince Lombardi with the quotes. So if you aren't in the championship any longer, it's okay. We got some entertainment for you with some battle royale tournaments on Underdog. And we can go over a little bit of strategy with this until we get some comments on some live start sit questions. I'm more than happy to go over for those that are in the championship week. Or if you're playing for third place, you try and make your money back. Still a fail of a season, in my opinion. I'm there in a league, so I hear you. I hear you. Sometimes injuries happen and you can't recover from some things. So let's jump in one of these. We have some news that Jalen Hurts has been ruled out. Doubtful, but he's going to be ruled out. They're going to save him for the last week, which is going to have playoff implications. Whether they're going to have home field or not, they need to win that last week. So here at pick 3, I'm not super fond of Kelsey here against Denver. I would rather have Kittle, Hawkinson, Ingram, even Komet super late. And this is a beautiful pick. You have Fields. Okay, so Fields has been rising. He was going around pick 12 at the start of the week on Underdog. But for you guys that don't know, and ladies, Battle Royale is a 19,653 entrant tournament. Well, right now. When it's full, it's 51,000. This kicks off all the time. 48,000, like 3,000 short, 2,000 short. So as people start to tune out of fantasy football content, these tournaments become a little more enticing because of just less people, and the prize pools don't change. So first place is 25K, second 12K. It pays about the top 23%, and it's basically just your money back. So it's very heavy at the top for payouts. And we will gladly go CMC here with the third pick against Las Vegas, an absolute cupcake matchup. We think that, with Derek Carr not playing any longer, San Fran with a solid defense against Stidham, they should have the pace of play there in this game. So CMC, good candidate for 20 points this week in a half-point PPR league, which is what this is. We can go down here real quick. So it's just going to be the 1 o'clock games and 4 o'clock games. Half-point PPR, no bonuses, pretty standard. 1 point minus for interceptions, 2 point for fumble. Pretty standard stuff. Quarterbacks, wide receivers. You need to start 1 QB, 2 receivers, 1 running back, 1 flex, and 1 tight end. The flex can obviously be a running back, wide receiver, tight end. All right. Let's see what we want to do here. I'm interested with Tyreek Hill this week. Maybe doing a Tyreek Hill and Teddy Bridgewater stack, and then maybe going Ramondre Stevenson as a bring back. So we can sort of go over some of the strategies here on how to really smash one of these tournaments. And it's going to be all about stacking and bringing it back with another player on the other side of the ball. You're basically betting on a game to blow up. And we increase our chances of hitting it big when we are correct on one game versus if we have several players on different teams, it's harder to get that many things correct. So it becomes less likely that you will smash. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking to smash. Now, who's a better player, right? Keenan Allen or Jalen Waddle? That's debatable. But we are looking to hit it big here. So this will be our Miami lineup. And you can do a couple like this. I typically do around 15 to 20 lineups here. I like to get my top guys. And typically, the easiest way to go about it is See what's the highest point total game of the week. VegasInsider.com is a great website. You have Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears as the number one game this week. Is 53 or 52.5 points. So we can see if we can get maybe Cole Kmet on the back end here as our just like a random tight end. I'm also fine with like a Juwan Johnson if Olave is not playing. Still questionable with the hammy. We'll see what they do with him. They're not going to be in the playoffs, so I wouldn't be surprised if they just sit him. Not going to be interested in Devontae Adams. I mean, I have like 2 lineups with him just as a bring back player on a San Fran heavy lineup because we like bring backs as well. This is just so Laurie might go tight end here, but I'm going to take my running back, bring back. So far this lineup's turned out pretty well. You'd think I'm a fortune teller. Turned out pretty. I'm not yet at least. So at the end of this Monday, so let's say Tuesday, I'm going to be going on a recap of my underdog results. Pretty good so far. Pretty good. Better than the stock market, that's for sure. Let's see. I have 1 lineup left in the puppy 3. Still looking for Mason, bro. Where are you at, dude? What happened? Where'd you go? No one's going to go Teddy, right? No one's going to go Teddy. That'd be ludicrous. I don't have a ton of Evan Ingram. I think they're going to go run heavy this game. We're starting to see them get ETN involved, getting around 20 carries a game for the last 3 games. So we'll go Evan Ingram here just as a kind of like hedging my bet. I have a ton of Cole Kmet, so if Ingram outscores him, we definitely want lineups with Ingram in there. Here we go. This is what I would consider a near perfect lineup. If Teddy Bridgewater goes off, right? Who's he going to throw the ball to? Most likely these 2 guys are getting the ball. You wouldn't necessarily go Teddy Bridgewater in just one of them. How's Teddy Bridgewater get you to number 1 overall with 51,000 lineups? He needs to probably throw for 350 yards and have 3+ touchdowns. And in order to do that, he's going to be throwing to his top 2 guys, which we saw him do when Tua was out. So we'll jump in another one. We'll see what kind of team we can formulate here. But I'm happy with this lineup. This is exactly what you want to do when creating these Battle Royale tournament lineups. And it's just a 1-week tournament, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock games. All right, let's jump in another one. And they fill super fast. Super fast. After this, I'll quickly go over my puppy 3 lineup that is left. It's going to be 230 teams left playing for 200K. Dalton Schultz going off. There's about 16 teams out of the 230 that had Dalton Schultz, so good for them. I have Hawkinson and Higbee, so I'm hoping they can get at least 15+. It'll be pretty necessary in order to finish in the top, really, 10. So second pick here, I'm most likely going to get CMC again, and I'm fine with it. Give me as much CMC this week as possible. Washington has a sneaky good defense on the ground, plus Christian McCaffrey was a little banged up, so I'm not too worried about that game. And as you can see, in general, people aren't worried about CMC's last game nor the injury because his average draft pick is 2 for this week. The Joker, welcome back to the live stream. Full PPR pick 2, David Montgomery, Tyler Algier, Ramondre Stevenson with the questionable tag, Rashad White, and Donta Foreman. My friend, I have to go with the same 2 as yesterday. Ramondre Stevenson seems to be trending in the right direction. So 3 hours ago, Liss is questionable. Let's see. If he plays, you're starting him. He was questionable against Vegas, and look what he did. So I understand that there's a little bit of risk with someone that is banged up, but the Patriots have a chance to make the playoffs. And with that being said, in order to win this game against Miami, they need to get the ball rolling on the ground. So Ramondre Stevenson is a lock if he's playing. They're not just going to put him in the game if he's not healthy enough to play. So Ramondre Stevenson, I like David Montgomery in full point PPR. You have Tyler Algier in what seems to be a cupcake matchup against Arizona's poor run defense, but he's not a PPR guy. Patterson and him are pretty much splitting. Tyler Algier is seeing more red zone touches, which is a beautiful thing. I would flex Tyler Algier this week, depending who you have in the flex. Tyler Algier is a borderline RB2 this week. So it is close. But I like David Montgomery and I like Stevenson. David Montgomery in a 52.5 point total game. It's going to be a lot of points scored. All right, let's see what we want to do with this lineup. We can go Kittle, McCaffrey. We're not going to be able to stack anyone with Goff. I'm not really interested in like a DJ Chark if I don't have Amon-Ra. This might be a Purdy lineup. We'll see. But I'm glad. I forgot who asked the question yesterday, but they're asking Schultz or Freiermuth, and I really hope they went with our pick in Schultz. We were talking about his upside, and he has that 2-touchdown upside that he showed. He absolutely blew up, and just in time for the championship week. I mean, Keenan Allen's just getting a crazy amount of targets. Typically not the guy that you think of when we think about high upside. Mike Williams finishing as a top 10 receiver last year 3 times, and Keenan Allen didn't finish as a top 10 receiver a single time, but he was very consistent. Tides are kind of turning. Herbert is chucking the ball to Keenan Allen in the slot a lot more. And their run game's taking a hit, so that could be a reason. Troubles on the ground for the Chargers have been putting a lot more stress on our friend Herbert to throw the ball and put some points on the board. I love your running backs. Joker, if you're still here, I wish that you were joining us on the live stream around the trade deadline, because we really could have made some moves with your squad to potentially upgrade QB, tight end, or wide receivers. My favorite thing to go over is trade ideas. Buy low, sell highs. But absolutely stacked with running backs. Stacked. All right. So we could bring this back with let's see. Josh Jacobs goes super late. I would be more interested in a Josh Jacobs bring back player in this San Fran Vegas game than I would a Devontae Adams with Stidham. Sorry, Stidham. There's a little bit of trust issues there. It's not you. It's me. It's me. So we'll see. We want to do a bring back with this game. And, man, I wouldn't mind going Purdy here. Seen Herbert's been struggling. Yeah, Indy's got a great defense, so I understand that game. But the Tennessee game, Miami game, 1 touchdown, 19.5 points, throwing 51 times. He has been struggling. So we need a second wide receiver as well. If Christian Watson doesn't play, Allen Lazard gets a huge boost. This guy needs a receiver and a tight end and a QB. We're not worried about him taking our QB. He doesn't need a running back. Let's go Metcalf here, kind of as our random, because we can go either Cam Akers as a bring back player in this Keenan Allen game in the Rams, or we can get Josh Jacobs as a bring back player in the San Fran Vegas game. So bring some correlation to our lineup, which is exactly what you want to do. DK will obviously be our kind of one-off player in this scenario. There's a fumble on the court. Let's see. He goes Herbert. I'm assuming he'd go Mike Williams here to get a little correlation, but not everyone is doing that. Liam, welcome to the live stream. Choose 2. 1 for wide receiver, 1 for flex. You got Judy, Aaron Jones, McKinnon, Dillon, Devontae, Demont, or London. Man, I liked London last week too. He didn't really do what he's supposed to. All right. You got Judy against KC. Sutton's playing. Judy a little banged up, which I'm worried about. Aaron Jones, Dillon. You're obviously – so let's start with the wide receiver. Judy or Devontae or London. Man, I think you have to go Devontae here. You don't love it. You don't love it in a tough matchup, low-scoring game. Stidham as the QB coming in. I'm going Devontae. And for the flex, Aaron Jones, McKinnon, Demont. I like Aaron Jones this week, but it seems like he's good to go. He should have a huge role, especially if Christian Watson isn't playing this game. You should see a couple more targets. McKinnon is a good candidate, but again, he's not going to have a 3-touchdown game against Denver like he did last time they faced off. Denver is a tougher defense. Give me Aaron Jones. It's the second highest scoring point total on the week. If we can get back to around 15 attempts and 3 catches, he has a good floor. So especially if Christian Watson's not playing this week, I like Aaron Jones. But yeah, you have a lot of guys that are very similar in rankings this week. Demont, I like, but again, Khalil Herbert is back. So he's going to be taking around 6 to 8 touches away from Montgomery. This is going to be a Purdy lineup. With this, we're basically banking on Purdy getting 3 touchdowns. Maybe 1 to Kittle, 1 to McCaffrey. It could be 1 to Ayuk. It doesn't really matter, but we need, for this lineup to hit, Christian McCaffrey, we need a rushing touchdown, a catching touchdown, George Kittle 1 or 2. We have a lot of Jared Goff lineups, and we're only picking Jared Goff here if we get Amon-Ra. Kirk Cousins, we're only picking him if we're getting Jefferson and Hawkinson. So this lineup's going to be a Brock Purdy lineup hype train. That's a tough one, though. That really is. I think you could just go with your studs, Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams. That's a wild one. I wouldn't want to be in that scenario. Devontae Adams. Congrats for making it this far with Devontae kind of underperforming the last few weeks. Give us first pick. We want to get a Justin Jefferson lineup in here. Third pick. All right, maybe we'll go with a Mon-Ra and we'll bring it back with a Chicago Bear. Pick 10. So he might get sniped. He might not. If he gets sniped, we can always finish it off with like a Jared Goff and get like a Montgomery as a bringback player or Cole Kmet as a bringback player in this Detroit game. So a lot of options when you start with the Mon-Ra. Saquon has a good matchup this week as well. Let's see how these first couple picks go. So let's see. While we were waiting, should be able to touch on some weather updates. And it's looking much better than it was last week. If you weren't on top of the weather updates last week and you started anyone on New Orleans versus Cleveland, you probably weren't very happy. Man, I have so much CMC in these, but it's so hard to like turn him down. It really is. And I'm not gonna. Anytime I can get CMC this week, there's a great chance he could finish as RB1. So let's see. Yeah, it's looking really good for the games this week. Vikings at Packers, 36 degrees. Rams at Chargers, that's a dome game. Jets at Seahawks, you got 45 degrees. No rain. 49ers at Raiders, another dome. Browns at Washington, 52 degrees. Saints at the Philly, 52 degrees. Colts at the Giants, 54 degrees. So it's looking good. There's no games that's even supposed to rain this week. Bills at the Bengals in Cincy, 59 degrees, 65% chance of rain. That's going to be our Monday night game. So if you got anyone playing that game, you're not sitting them. That's supposed to be an absolute fireworks of a game. I was going to go George Kittle again, but I don't want too many lineups that has both CMC and Kittle. Can they both go off at the same time? Yes, very clearly. But I have probably around 3 or 4 lineups already with both of them. So trying to mix this up, try to get a better exposure to the players that we want. So this game, I'm not going to double stack with Waddle and a bring back is Teddy Bridgewater. We're going to try to make this one a little different. We could always go Lawrence. I was going to go ETN if he was there. We can go Lawrence and Ingram. And we're not bringing it back with any Houston player. Okay, another one we can do is Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and bring it back with Herbert, which I also like a lot. Let's do it. Let's make this our Chargers lineup. And then we can always bring back with Cam Akers, which I love this week as a late running back in these drafts. We're seeing his production just go up and up. 25 touches last week, got in the end zone 3 times. We're not expecting him to repeat that, but he's a good candidate for 20 touches and a titty. What a year he's had. Up and down, in and out of the lineup. Is he being traded or not? He was praying for it, and then they pretty much just told him stay home. Then they dropped Darrell Henderson. They've just been a mess. The Rams have been a mess. This is interesting. We have a ton of Ramondre Stevenson this week in these lineups. I can't get enough of him. If he plays, he's a top 5 guy. He's a top 5 guy this week. They're going to be run heavy against Miami. Let's see. Mike Williams. Both of these teams need quarterback. Both of them could. Oh no, it's just one. Let's go Cam Akers here. Let's get our bring back player early, and then we're gonna go Herbert and we can't go Mike Williams. That's fine. We can always go Everett. So double stack in a bring back with Cam Akers. How does Justin Herbert get you to first place with 51,000 entrants, 51,000 teams? I mean, he doesn't do it on the ground, right, with his legs. So we need 2 of his pass catchers. This is a perfect candidate where you need 2 of his pass catchers to smash, right? He's not going to get a rushing touchdown. He's not going to get you 50 yards on the ground. So are there better players available? Yeah, I'd rather Komet. Even Higbee is decent this week. I like Higbee this week. But Gerald Everett as a bring back player with Justin Herbert, we need to think, okay, how do we hit? How does this lineup come in the top 10? It's going to be touchdowns and he can spread the ball. Now we saw Josh Allen get 29 points and none of his receivers having over 15 points. That isn't really this offense. Yeah, Palmer's there. He can get some catches. He can throw the ball to Eckler. So sort of, kind of. But for this lineup to hit, and especially where Everett's not being drafted every single one of these drafts, we're getting a little different here. So if Gerald Everett puts up 18 points, 15 points, gets 1 touchdown, or if it's just that 1 week a year where it happens, like Evan Ingram 2 weeks ago putting up 40 something points, then we're going to smash. And that's that you need a little bit of luck when it comes to these. You're playing against 51,000 teams. So we got our high upside double stack with a bring back. I love it. Like, that's a successful lineup to me. I didn't get sniped. We like that. We like when it goes nice and easy, and it takes a little bit of planning to be able to kind of formulate how your squad's going to look. There's a little bit of drafting knowledge in here. Like, you want to make sure that if you need a quarterback and these 2 teams both already have their quarterback, we're not going quarterback here. We can just go quarterback with this pick. So you want to look ahead a little bit. That's wild. I'm pretty much avoiding Travis Kelce here. Tough matchup against Denver again. I'd like Amon-Ra and Justin Fields. I'd like to make that my base for this week. Bronco is 365. Let's see what he does. Goes Kelsey. We're going to grab Amon-Ra. Barkley goes 5th. Followed by Tyreek Hill on the 6th turn. Tyreek Hill, Eckler start. I like that. I mean, I won't be mad if I get one of these two guys. Yeah. Cool. So we have some good correlation already to start this. I'm going to be looking to bring it back with a Cole Kmet at the end. I mean, who else would you really stack as a wide receiver with Justin Fields? It's pretty tough. Like Chase Claypool's out there. He's running routes, right? But it's not really turning into points. So we have some people spiking here, but for small points, Justin Fields is really the main benefactor. Justin Fields is not someone that you're going to stack 2 receivers with. Typically just one pass catcher, and for me, that's going to be Cole Kmet as his favorite red zone target when he's playing. We're going to go Devonta Smith here, I think, is our random. Connor not listed on the injury report. All right. It's time to get some James Conner. I've been sort of avoiding him because of the Q tag. There's a high chance that if he wasn't good to go, if he wasn't healthy enough to play, they have no reason to play him. He's good to go, so you got to get him. You got to get him in some of your lineups against Atlanta. Huge boom potential. Huge. But if any of you want to jump in some of these Battle Royale tournaments with me, you can use Fantasy Dog Pound as your sign-up code, and you'll get 100% match up to $100. So if you put 100 in, instantly 200 goes in your account, which is amazing. If you don't already know about these drafts or the season-long Underdog drafts, best ball, man, we did 496 drafts going into the season. We made a G note so far, but we have 4 lineups in the finals, which some of those tournaments have 230,000 people, down to 230 left, playing for 200K, all off a $5 lineup. I like this a lot. I like where we're at right now. I like where we're at. I like this. I like this lineup. We have our bring back player with the Amon-Ra. We're not really going to bring it back with the second Detroit Lion. You can. I'm not saying that you can't. We're not going to here. I think it just kind of, we have higher potential, higher boom or bust players on that are going to be drafted here. Cole Kmet being one of them, and a second receiver, like I wouldn't go DJ Chark unless I have Goff as my QB. I don't want two of his pass catchers. We can't go running back because you already have two, and you can only have a max of one running back and a flex. So our flex for this lineup is going to be a second running back. Hope that makes sense. Beautiful. Beautiful. So this guy cannot select Cole Kmet. And now we're going to go for a wide receiver. And someone I actually like this week got the sneaky play in, I guess, any lineups, because you get in Carson Wentz back. And if you remember Jahan Dotson, when Carson Wentz was playing, he was his favorite target in the red zone over Terry McLaurin. Christian Watson, I'm not super confident is going to play. He did practice for the first time today in a limited fashion with that hip injury. If he does play in season long, if you're in the championship and you need to flex someone that's high upside, if he's good to go. I mean, against Minnesota, they give up a lot of points to wide receivers. But right here, this lineup could be dead if I draft him. You can't change your lineup after you draft these guys. So not super interested in having two Arizona players on my squad. Allen Lazard is risky because if Christian Watson does play, that kind of bones you. I like these two right here. Carolina versus Tampa Bay. I have no correlation, so it doesn't matter. Let's go with the high upside and a high touchdown rate player in Jahan Dotson in this half-point PPR league. Matthew, welcome to the live stream. He says, Williams, Walker, Brian Robinson for the flex. Yeah, Mike Williams. Well, we just saw that Brian Robinson is the guy this week. He is the guy this week. You're not going to have to worry about him being vultured. Kenneth Walker coming off an injury. Mike Williams kind of boom or bust. It depends. Do you need high upside? Because obviously the high upside play is going to be Mike Williams. If you're in a close matchup and the projections are pretty close, I'm going Brian Robinson, who's going to get the majority of the touches. Really should get 90, 95% of these touches. Let's jump in another one here. But I'm interested. Is it close? Are the projections close? Because that's gonna be the deciding factor for me. Antonio Gibson's out. Ruled out as of 7 hours ago. So, yeah, for me, Brian Robinson is a sure thing, surefire for 16 touches, and that's being modest. That's on the low end. I saw him get 22 touches. Obviously not efficient against San Fran. San Fran's got an unbelievable run defense. So if he can get in the end zone, get you 16, 17 points, easy. And he was already kind of the lead back there. So I think game script matters a lot too. And against Cleveland, they should be pretty run heavy. But yeah, Kenneth Walker, it just sort of worries me with the injury. Jets, you can run on the Jets, and you sort of have to run on the Jets. But Tyler Lockett's coming back this week, I believe, probable to play. So you're going to see some more throw-in from Geno in this game. Actually, not a bad idea to do a little Lockett Metcalf stack. I know the Jets have one of the best pass defenses, but it'll be an extremely different lineup. You can't really there won't be too many teams with a double stack with Geno. And we saw when both Lockett and Metcalf were playing, Geno had multiple touchdowns in every single game. The last 2 or 3 weeks, he's only had one. But again, that was with Lockett being out. So we'll see what we can do here with the 6th pick. We'll see if someone falls. If you're in the chat watching and you don't know what these tournaments are, let me know in the comments. I'll be glad to explain them to you. If Saquon falls, we'll go Saquon. Ooh, okay. Interessante. Saquon's got a beautiful matchup this week. Giants looking to make playoffs. It's an easy one. Same thing with Eckler. I mean, I kind of want to go Justin Fields here just to, again, get a Justin Fields and Cole Kmet stack in the highest point total game of the week. But let's do something a little different here. Start with double running backs. 2 of the top 3 running backs on the week. Interesting start. We just got to find correlation now. We could always go with a Mike Williams and Justin Herbert. Austin Eckler is a great candidate to receive a passing touchdown. So you can stack him with Herbert. I'm not worried about that. Most running backs I don't stack with the quarterback, though, when you're looking for the highest upside. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but it's way more unlikely. I'll do it 1 out of every 10 lineups. With, like, let's say a Joe Burrow and Mixon is a great example. Always catches, maybe 2, 3 touchdowns a year. But you're not typically going to stack Burrow with Mixon. So I think that's a good example there. So running backs are out. You can only have 1 in a flex. So Eckler's our flex. We can go Hawkinson, get a little correlation if we want to do a Kirk Cousins lineup. We can bring it back with an Allen Lazard wide receiver pick, which is nice. We can go Evan Ingram with Trevor Lawrence. Let's go Hawkinson. This is going to be the 2nd highest point total of the week per Vegas Insider at 48.5 points. And the game's it keeps rising. Let's go Hawkinson and bring back player. And this is how you kind of raise your ceiling. When you're betting on one game to blow up, you raise your ceiling, which is what you need when you're facing off against 51,000 lineups. So bring back player and Allen Lazard. We'll get a huge boost if Christian Watson is ruled out with that bum hip injury he's got. Practiced in limited fashion. We'll see if he's good to go. And even if he is, he might be on a snap count, which means Lazard would be going a lot, probably right around this Chris Godwin range instead of down here. We can always go Kirk Cousins, and we can go Adam Thielen. Don't love it, right? Would way prefer to have Jefferson here when we're going to be playing Kirk Cousins. Thielen in the end zone. He's a red zone guy. Obviously, not a good game against the Giants. Hawkinson with 16 targets. We don't expect that to happen again. Good candidate for 8 targets, though. Hawkinson on any given week. So a little correlation here. We're not going to get any Rams wide receivers. The only Ram pass catcher I'd be interested in is Higbee, and we already have our flex with Eckler and our tight end with Hawkinson. Indy, not interested in any wide receivers in Indy. Okay, so Kirk Cousins goes to the team that picked Dalvin Cook, so that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So we're going to make this our Aaron Rodgers lineup instead. And we're just going to bank on Christian Watson. Where is he? We're just going to bank on Christian Watson playing. And then we have our bring back player in TJ Hawkinson on the Minnesota side. So we're able to stay flexible here while still getting our double stack and bring back. The reason why I go Christian Watson here is because Aaron Rodgers isn't a rushing quarterback. He's not going to get there on his legs with his feet. So in order for Aaron Rodgers in this lineup to smash, you need 2 of his pass catchers. Will it be Allen Lazard and Christian Watson? I don't know. No one really does. That's the thing. But if it is, this lineup has a good chance of moving on and finishing high. So raise your ceiling. It lowers your floor, but that's how you smash one of these guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something the way I draft in my brain. Thank you for coming out, Pounders. Y'all are the best. Have a extremely lucky Week 17 championship week.